गवर्नमेंट वाज इन अ वेरी मच ऑफ अ जैम। अगर वो नहीं करते हैं तो ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड वो केन हैड फाइल्ड केसेस to try and recover the damages, etc. Government's name was getting sullied. If it did the amendment, it could be accused of siding with an MNC. Repeatedly, there was this noise about this government not addressing tax terrorism.
सरकार ने 12 साल के बाद रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव टैक्स का एक ऐसा कानून जिसको अमेंड कर दिया, जिस पर पूरी दुनिया में भारत के बारे में काफी क्रिटिसिज्म हो रहा था कि ये बहुत ही मैलिशियस सा कानून है और रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव करना एक तरह से धोखेबाजी है, इन्वेस्टर्स को बड़ा गलत सिग्नल जाता है। ये जानने के लिए हम बात कर रहे हैं ध्रुवा एडवाइजर के फाउंडर चेयरमैन दिनेश कानाबार साहब से, जो इंटरनेशनल टैक्सेशन के बड़े भारी एक्सपर्ट हैं। दिनेश जी, आपने हमारे लिए वक्त निकाला, बहुत शुक्रिया। माय फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन टू यू इज अबाउट what has compelled the government of India to come up with this amendment now after 8 or 9 years?
संजय, अगर देखा जाए तो जब ये 2012 में कानून बना, the issue before the government was very simple, that when Vodafone acquired the shareholding of Hutch overseas, तो जो Hutch को गेन हुआ, was that gain taxable in India? क्योंकि जो एसेट ट्रांसफर हुई थी वो इंडियन नहीं थी, ऑल्दो उसकी वैल्यू इंडिया में थी, लेकिन वो एसेट बाहर थी। तो अब क्या वो एसेट को इंडिया में कानून के अंदर का टैक्स किया जा सकता था या नहीं? वोडाफोन का मानना था, वोडाफोन को कोई गेन नहीं था इसमें, जो कोई भी गेन हुआ था वो हज को हुआ था। लेकिन गवर्नमेंट ने वोडाफोन के सामने ये दलील रखी कि आपको जब हज को पेमेंट की तो उस पर टैक्स काटना चाहिए था, आपने नहीं काटा, तो आप एसएससी इन डिफॉल्ट है। सो दैट वाज द होल बेसिस। द मैटर वेंट ऑल द वे टू सुप्रीम कोर्ट, और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अनइक्विवोकली ये कहा कि उस वक्त जो कानून था उसके अंतर्गत बाहर के शेयर अगर ट्रांसफर किए जाते हैं, नॉट विथस्टैंडिंग की उसकी वैल्यू इंडिया में है, जो नेटवर्क इंडिया में था, कानून में ये प्रोविजन नहीं था कि वो टैक्स किया जा सके। वेरी कैटेगरिकल, वेरी अनइक्विवोकल, और इस कानून को बदलने का कोई सवाल नहीं उठता था। इनफैक्ट मुझे याद है, मैं स्टूडियो में था, फाइनेंस बिल प्रेजेंट हुआ और फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर ने कुछ भी नहीं कहा इस बारे में, और उसके बाद जस्ट जैसे ही मेरा इंटरव्यू शुरू हो रहा था, दैट आई एम सीइंग द रेवेन्यू सेक्रेटरी, और उन्होंने आके कहा कि हमने कानून को रिट्रोस्पेक्टिवली बदल के ये क्लैरिफाई किया है कि ये कानून 1962 से यही था कि अगर बाहर के शेयर्स की वैल्यू इंडिया में हो तो उसको टैक्स किया जा सकता है। तो गवर्नमेंट का कानून बनाने की जो एबिलिटी है उस पर कोई शक नहीं था। प्रॉब्लम ये था कि क्या आप ये कानून रिट्रोस्पेक्टिवली बना सकते हो, और जब किसी ने ये एसेट खरीदी तब ये कोई प्रोविजन था नहीं, तो क्या उससे आप टैक्स रिकवर कर सकते हो? क्या आपने टैक्स काटा क्यों नहीं? For a government to change a law, then the provision would be कि ये सूट बूट की सरकार है, CNAG, ये तो CBI, so ये government was a little bit worried कि ये अगर कानून बनाया है पिछली गवर्नमेंट ने, let the law take its own course. In the meantime, both Vodafone and Kane approached the international arbitration and got an award in their favor. What of course I could not understand is why did it take government last 5-6 months not to accept the arbitration award and go in appeal and thereafter make an amendment? But otherwise one could see that the government was in a very much of a jam. अगर वो नहीं करते हैं तो all over the world वो Kane had filed cases to try and recover the damages, etc. Government's name was getting sullied. If it did the amendment, it could be accused of siding with an MNC.
Was the fear of getting very bad name globally after Indian assets would be seized after the Kane initiated the process of attaching the Indian assets? Was that became a kind of critical juncture where government was kind of the view that now we must do it?
Sanjay, that could very well be the tipping point, because Insofar as Vodafone was concerned, the government had filed an appeal in Singapore courts, given against arbitration award for Kane that was filed. But the two things were happening. One was that repeatedly there was this noise about this government not addressing tax terrorism, a term which it had itself coined, number one. Number two, India is looking at increasing investments with emerging as a credible alternative to China. And here was international press, France, etc., passing orders against the government. So yes, I believe it should have been the tipping point.
Absolutely. What if Kane Energy refuses to accept the proposal, the amendment, where cost, damages, penalties, interests are not to be recovered by Kane Energy from the government of India? What happens then?
Well, two questions there. One is that, is it likely that the Kane will accept the order or not? And I really can't give that answer. But logically, I would believe that Kane would want to put this issue behind. If you see Kane Energy today, Sanjay, Kane, there used to be a promoter. It was a company which acquired for $1 all the gas oil fields in India, made such a huge gain. And all the investors today are financial investors, FIIs, etc. If you go to the shareholding of Kane Energy, it is all FIIs, the Aberdeens of the world, etc. And I do think that nobody would really want to fight a sovereign. It was only because Kane was put into a corner. Because remember, unlike Vodafone's case, there was coercion on Kane. The shares that Kane UK held in India were confiscated, sold, and monies realized. It is only in such a situation that an organization takes on a sovereign. So logically, I said I can't vouch for it, but logically, I would think there's a very, very high and a significant possibility that Kane will simply accept the order. Kane tends to lose a number of things. First, when it gets the money back, there could be an exchange loss. Second, it will not get interest. Third, it will have to waive off all the penalties and whatever else. And all of that notwithstanding, I would think that Kane would be well advised, and I think it is being so well advised that it should simply move on and take the money. I would be very, very surprised if it does not accept it. Kane Energy used to operate in India, and I won't go through the whole 9 years of the story, but as a very brief background, Kane Energy was operating as a branch. Kane, after the discovery of oil, wanted to do a IPO. And to do an IPO, it, so to say, transferred the branch to a wholly owned subsidiary. There was no sale, there were no gains realized. And while that may have been discovered, the way it happens is once the law is amended, the tax guy is going to look back and say who all are impacted. So it's not only Kane, there is WNS, there is Mitsubishi, there are so many others who have received notices. So it was covered by that amendment. In the case of Kane, the unfortunate part was that there was no gain which Kane made. It was simply an internal transfer. And it was the gain arising because when Kane was sold to Vedanta, taxes were paid. There was no issue there. But this was an internal transfer. In the case of Hutch, at least Hutch made a gain because it sold something to Vodafone. But here, there was no gain made by it. Was a pure internal restructuring on which taxes were recovered.
Right. We are talking about mostly two cases, Vodafone and Kane Energy, but there are 17 such cases. What do you think of the other 15 cases? Now the whole thing will become a matter of past and people will move forward, or there are many overhangs they are going to be around?
So one of the cases is WNS, where Aviva acquired a particular captive unit. Next is a matter which is Vedanta, which is related to Kane, because Vedanta was assessed as an SSE in default. Then we have Mitsubishi, then we have GE. So all those cases will probably come to an end now. Not very many people have paid taxes. The payment of taxes was only by Kane because it was a forced recovery. Some taxes have been paid by WNS. Many of these will become now refundable.
तो अब चूंकि ये रेट्रोस्पेक्टिव तो नहीं होगा, लेकिन ये जो इनडायरेक्ट ट्रांसफर पे कैपिटल गेन्स है, ये प्रोस्पेक्टिव अभी भी सरकार का प्रोविजन है, उस एक्ट का प्रोविजन है कि वो मांगेगी। ऐसे में आप चूंकि फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर से भी बात करते हैं, उनको सिग्नलिंग कैसे होगी, वो इंडिया की तरफ अब इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए कैसा देखेंगे, इस पर क्या थॉट है आपका?
ये जो प्रोस्पेक्टिव की बात है उसमें दैट इंडिया इज नॉट अलोन। चाइना में ऐसा कानून है, इंडोनेशिया में ऐसा कानून है, अफ्रीका में ऐसा कानून है। सो टू से कि अगर आप फॉरेन की एसेट ट्रांसफर करते हैं लेकिन उसकी वैल्यू आपके देश से आ रही है तो इंडिया का ये हक बनता है टैक्स लेने का, ये कोई गलत बात नहीं है। सो गवर्नमेंट एक्शन इज नॉट समथिंग which कैन बी कंडेम्ड। फॉरेन इन्वेस्टर्स आज जब भी लेते हैं तो उनको पता है कि अगर इंडिया में वैल्यू है तो इंडिया को टैक्स लेने का हक बनता है। द इश्यू रियल इज क्या आप कोई कानून रिट्रोस्पेक्टिव ला सकते हो? सो इंडिया अकेला नहीं है और ये कानून में कोई गलती नहीं है।
We are truthful, unafraid and independent because of you. Now you can help our reporting from the ground. Go to thequint.com, click Become a Member tab, choose a plan and pay. Because the truth is worth it.